Balancing our attitudes. Overview. There are many areas in our lives that require us to strike a balance between two extremes. Life often makes demands upon us that are in conflict with other demands. It seems that the proper course is to stay away from extremes of all sorts and try to find a balance that works. This tension between opposites lends a certain dynamism to life. We can think of this as acting along an axis. The agreeableness quarrelsome axis is a good example. Not all points along such an axis will be appropriate at all times. We need to look to the context to decide what is appropriate. Fear. Fear is unpleasant, but it serves a useful purpose. The proper response to fear is often courage. Courage can be admirable, but it can also be foolish. Those who say to never obey fear are wrong. Sometimes our wisest course is to obey fear, mostly when there is a real danger. Most of the time there isn't, but when there is, obeying fear has real survival value. Courage in the face of real danger is the basis of heroism, but heroism is not always called for. Allowing fear to cripple us when there is no real danger is a poor choice. We must learn to be courageous in such situations. The fear-courage axis is one that we all must deal with in our lives. Expertise. Deep domain knowledge is essential to success. We need to know about many different things while avoiding becoming a jack of all trades. Being eclectic is good. Being able to move across domain boundaries is excellent. Having a superficial knowledge of a broad range of subjects is an asset, but we need to be really good at something. Real expertise may take as much as 10 years to develop, so we just need to put in the hours. Don't be good at the wrong things. Pessimism. We need to be optimistic about the end game, or we would never attempt anything. However, short-term pessimism is very useful because it allows us to prepare for what is difficult while it is still easy to do so. The things that we plan for tend to go better than eventualities for which we have not prepared ourselves. When planning, it is best to include worst case, best case, and most likely scenarios. Planning. We need to plan because planning allows us to prepare for contingencies before they happen. But this should not degenerate into micromanagement. Those who avoid planning because they want to keep it dynamic or maintain spontaneity run the risk of being surprised by unanticipated events. Such surprises are seldom pleasant. Risk. Avoiding all risk will block accomplishment, because without risk there is no reward. Viewing life as an adventure which must be experienced to the full, without considering the risks, is irresponsible and carries with it its own risk of ending badly because of unanticipated problems. In Money, Master the Game, Tony Robbins mentions two conflicting human needs, which he calls certainty and surprise. For our purposes, certainty is security and surprise is adventure. The point is, we really need both, but both are not always appropriate. Work and family. The rewards for getting work right are accomplishment, fulfillment, and wealth. The rewards for getting family right are accomplishment, fulfillment, and happiness. Some degree of wealth is required to succeed with family, and some degree of happiness is required to succeed with work. These are both large parts of our lives, and we need to get both of them right, but right is not the same for everybody. Patience. Patience can be likened to sipping a drink, while impatience is more like overcoming the gag reflex and chugging it. They both have their place. When first starting something, it is better to be a little impatient to help us get over the hump, but patience is always required for mastery. As with optimism and pessimism, if we were to approach everything with too much patience, we would never accomplish anything, because patience has an element of acceptance about it that could cause us problems when applied inappropriately. Persistence. Persistence is needed, but we should guard against stubbornness, which could be thought of as extreme persistence. Persistence implies dissatisfaction with the way things are. Adaptability is needed as well, but this implies an acceptance of the way things are that we should guard against. We should only accept what we can't change. Everything else is on the table. Learn when to persevere and when to quit. Be realistic. Build your persistence around knowledge and tested judgment. Self-reliance. We need to be self-reliant to some degree in order to get things done, but this is accomplished in the context of social dependence, because the foundation of getting what we want revolves around other people. If we turn the world against us, we will experience a bad outcome. This is one area we must get right to be successful. Humility. Confidence is needed, but too much of it can become arrogance, which is self-defeating. Pride and arrogance are counterproductive. Our confidence should be tempered by real humility. Otherwise, we have to do everything ourselves, which is just not possible. Real humility makes us teachable. Truth-seeking. Truth-seeking is vital, and this ties in well with humility. Dogmatism needs to be avoided because it will close your eyes to the truth. Productivity. Perfectionism would be a good thing if it weren't so crippling. Our desire to excel at what we do must be balanced against productivity needs. Sloppiness is productive, but the product isn't very good. The question we need to ask is, how good does this need to be? And the answer will come from the context. Now or later. If we adopt the stoic entrepreneurial mindset of an investor, we run the risk of missing out on some of the good things that life has to offer today. This is a wasting of time. On the other hand, if we adopt the you only live once consumer mentality of the Epicurean, we will certainly miss out on some future benefit. This too is a wasting of time. There is a need for balance here. Pie in the sky by and by is not very satisfying in the moment, but forms the basis for a prosperous future. If everything is left for later, the present will be lackluster and unappealing. Giving. It is an inborn part of human nature to be a taker. Essentially, mankind is not a source but a sink. However, we cannot be truly happy until we learn to be givers. Giving is a source of pure joy. This is why the wealthy support philanthropic works. They like the way it makes them feel. But giving is not limited to the wealthy. It is open to everyone. Even the poorest can give by volunteering. In a sense, giving is the foundation of financial success, because after we figure out how to add value, we need to find a way to share that value with others. I think Anthony Robbins said it best in Money Master the Game when he said the following: "Only those who have learned the power of sincere and selfless contribution will experience life's deepest joy, true fulfillment."